Okay.
Okay, so we're here and ready to get started. And we have a few people live with us, and I'm also recording. So we'll have persons being able to join us afterwards and follow the same information. So you should see on your screen now a slide that says help session. And then
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
just moving on to show you the questions that I'm going to be talking through today. I'm going to want to be able to help with how to do our blog assignments. I'm also going to help with how to do our written assignments. And we'll explore a little bit more for Module 1. Now, before I dive into those, for any of those that are here live, I want to check in if you have any other questions that we want to be sure to cover.
How do we sign in as in we're here?
How do you sign in that you're here?
Yes.
I'm not sure I understand the question. To
Like
enroll
being
in the
present.
class?
Is there something we need to do to prove that we was here?
No, you've signed in, so you're part of this. So if you're talking about here to be part of the help session, I have you recorded that you're here. So there's nothing more you need to do if you're part of the help session. All right. Do you have any questions about the class?
As of yet, no.
Okay. And Tiffany, I don't know if you are set up. You can also, great. So we have the speaker off for Tiffany, but if you want to type any questions as we go along, I'll keep checking back for those. All right. So we're going to first check in about blog assignments, and then I'll flow right into written assignments, and then we'll just look at the topic we're tackling for Module 1. Now, to do this, I am going to switch screens. So move with me here, and I am going to share with you my computer screen. And
Miss
it
Zook,
will,
I'm sorry. I got kicked off. I'm back.
okay, don't worry about letting me know that. Just come on back in so that we can record this and keep it smooth for folks that will be hearing it also as a recording.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to share the screen. It's going to go into so much of a zone, and now you should be able to see the class. I'm starting here on the announcements page. We have our left side menu. I'm just going to highlight real quick that you should begin this course at the Start Here button. Real short video that I welcome you to the class. You have your course entry assignment. That's the assignment for everyone to begin with, and we have a deadline. That's next week on January 22nd. In addition to the course entry assignment, there's a syllabus quiz, and I include a link right here on this page to the syllabus. You can also find it over here where I might have my pointer to the syllabus button. And then once you've viewed the introduction, did that course entry assignment, which is on the discussion board where we do introductions, you completed the syllabus quiz, that means you're ready to move on to Module 1. And that's what I'm going to spend more time with here this morning.
Okay.
To get to Module 1, you go over to the coursework button where my pointer is on the left side menu. And that opens up. We see again a link to those beginning assignments. This link here will take you also to the same things that are on the Start Here. And Module 1 begins right below that. We're working on both of these during our first week. So you see we have due dates that are the same. January 22nd to do those beginning assignments, and then January 22nd to do Module 1. So let me open up Module 1. And moving in here, we have our introduction, that what we're going to tackle in Module 1 is we're focusing on learning about the case manager position and the variety of roles that they perform. The objectives are what I want you to accomplish by the time you complete this assignment. And the way that you're going to, I'm going to coach you to be successful in those objectives is by completing these assignments. So you'll see our modules will be set up very similar each time you work on a module. There'll be an introduction, objectives, and the assignment list. So we have two things we're doing in this module. You'll also have a folder of readings. These complement the objectives. I encourage you to open that up and be familiar with what's in there. If you remember, we don't have a textbook for this class. Instead, we're using online tools.
Okay.
And then majority of what you'll be doing in each module is hands-on work. For this first one, it's a blog, and then you scroll down here for the written response. So two assignments to be doing. Blogs are a way that we interact with each other. Even though we're on an online class, we're going to be interacting with each other by posting on this blog. So what we put, your work that you put on the blog, everyone else in the class will see. That differs from the written assignment, which only I will see your work on. Both of these are graded assignments. They're graded a little bit differently. I include the 4 things I'm looking for right here on the blog. That your content, you included satisfactory summaries, you use good grammar and professionalism, and you included some creativity enhancements with your post. Some things I want to emphasize that sometimes confuse students when getting started. You're going to be posting 3 entries. And I'll show you in a moment what a post is. You'll be doing 3 of those. You're going to be using your own research. So there'll be things that you're looking for to share with our class. What are you searching for this time? I include a focus of questions for that. And then I sum up what I'm looking for in a good post. It should include some links to some of your research. So if I read your post, I can also follow that link to go and see it on the internet. In addition to just giving me a link, I want to know that you have looked at that link and can sum it up. You're going to sum up those links in a paragraph. And you're going to make sure we're not getting a bunch of posts that are all of the same thing. So if you're the first one to get started on a blog, you'll be the original content. But anyone who comes after will have to make sure they don't give the same thing that you did. Or if you're working on the blog at the end of the module, there might be a lot of people that posted. So you're going to be familiar with what is already out there. So you click this right here where it says class blog, and it's going to take us to a new page. And it has the same instructions there, but what's different on this page is this button right here where you're going to create that blog entry. If I click on that, it will open up my work page. I'll want to have an appropriate title, and then I will include right here my links and my paragraph summary. When I'm done with that, I'll post that entry, and that will count as one post. I will go back and I'll do my next one. And I create a blog entry and I do it again. So that's what 3 posts are. Each one
So
again
this
will
particular
have a
assignment.
couple links,
Oh,
a
I'm sorry.
paragraph, and it will be new. New
Okay,
content. What
I'm
kinds of things
confused as
that you'll be
well.
including are these questions here. So you're going to go out and do your own research about what a case manager is. So you'll do some Google research and see what you find. You might go and look at what job postings are, because that's a place that they'll tell us about a job description for a case manager. Or you might go to an agency that uses case managers and show us about what you can see from the work that that agency does. You might find an article that answers this and helps sum it up. You might have some photos that show this, or you might go out and do your own interviews. Those are all examples of how you might be able to answer some of these questions. Then at the end of the week, we will have a collection of a whole bunch of information that tells us all of the answers to these questions. Okay? So that is how we do class blogs. I'm going to come back to the other screen, check in if we've got any questions happening. All right, so I'm going to come back in here. All right, so let me answer any specific questions that you might have about doing a class blog. So you were saying you were confused. Tell me more about what is confusing you about class blogs. Okay, so question about if I've posted, why do I need to post again? Each post will be a different topic. So let's say I go out and I found 2 really good job descriptions about a case manager. I'd share those links and I'd write a paragraph saying, based on these job descriptions, it looks like a case manager will be responsible for getting resources. They may be responsible for making contacts daily with their cases. They may be responsible for monitoring meds. Boom, end of paragraph. 2 links that give examples of that. It's a post. Then I go out and I find a couple agencies that give good examples of where case managers work. I'm going to share those 2 links and a paragraph based on what I found that these links, 2 examples of where a case manager might work are ABC agency, DEF agency. Each of these agencies work with families and children and use case managers. Post that one, and then I'm going to look for my 3rd topic. So 3 posts are a way of organizing information to dig into the topics, and that's why I want them spread out over 3 posts. All right, so we put each post in the same place. Can we put more than 1 link on a blog? You remember that a blog entry is one workspace, and in that you're going to have 1 or 2 links that support your summary. I don't want you instead to do just one blog post that has 6 different entries and a whole bunch of topics. Instead, this is going to make it smoother for when we go back and want to look back at the information.
Okay, I'm turning on my thing real quick. Okay, so the first post, I think I posted all the questions and answered them. Now, I'm still a little confused.
Okay, all right. So I'm going to go back to the screen. So let me share my screen again.
I done the same thing. I put all the questions in one.
Okay, so here I'm seeing your post, Tiffany. So I see that you've given us about where a case manager may work. And here's the link where you found that. So you summarized and gave us the link. And then you gave a second link with a job description with that. All right, so that looks like that's 1 post. So you've gotten started on answering, it looks like, this question. So now you're ready to do another post and answer a little bit more deeper one of these other questions. So based on what you've done there, it looks like you've done 1 good post, 1 good blog entry. You want
Okay,
to
I haven't got that far.
So
I
then
thought you were talking about the introductory. I'm sorry.
Okay, so that's where you're doing that. You'll go and you'll do more. At the end, again, we're going to have ability to scroll down, and you have these as your resources for what I'm going to talk about in a moment, the written response. So you want it in bite-sized pieces. Think about a post having a couple links and a paragraph that you tell about those. It'll work best if those links are similar and they answer, who's a case manager? Here's 2 links that answer that, and a paragraph to tell you what I learned from those. Does that help?
It does.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So that's what we're creating with the blog. So when I grade it, I'm going to look at your content if it was related to these questions and you weren't writing about the price of gold in China. You were writing about these questions. Did you include summaries that are connected to the information you gave? Was it, did your writing, did you use proper grammar? Did you write in full sentences? Showed professionalism that way. And where the creativity is that is no one else putting up things like you had? Did you enhance, or was it just kind of already answering things that we knew? So photos are a way of showing creativity, finding a new type of site, adding videos. Certainly if you go and interview anyone, those are ways that you're showing for that. All right, so I'm going to go back to our module now and show what we do second after we've done that research. So we have a blog that towards the latter part of the module, it'll have your work and your classmates' work. And that will be your tools for doing a written response. A written response is going to be 3 to 5 full paragraphs. You're going to use full sentences, and you're going to answer the question prompt. So with 3 to 5 paragraphs, you're going to answer who is a case manager. So if you only can answer that in 1 sentence and you feel you're done, I would say when I gave you feedback, you've got to expand on this. You got to give more. If you're not sure what to write about, you can go back to the blog where I give you some ideas of how to drill deeper. You'll also find back in the blog from your posts and your classmates' posts a lot of good resources. As part of this, you're going to be using sources because you're not writing, well, I think a case manager is this. You're going to be using experts and other sources. And you'll be following APA guidelines for citing your sources and then including a reference list of those 3 sources. Again, where can you find those sources? They're going to be back there in the blog. So when you're researching for your blog posts, you can simultaneously be researching for your written response. You can also use anything that's been posted there by your classmates. So you don't have to start way back at researching again when you come to your written response. Key things, this is exactly what I'm going to be expecting from it. 3 to 5 full paragraphs, full sentences, answer this question, who is a case manager? Later modules will have a different question. Be sure that you proofread it so you don't have spelling and grammar errors. You're going to be citing within your writing, and you'll use APA guidelines and an APA reference list. Now I'm going to go right back over to this left side menu and show you I have a link now that says APA Help. And when you go in there, you're going to see tools that you should remember from your Intro to Human Services class. We have a citation hotline, which you can talk to our librarians for short questions about if you aren't quite sure of how to set up, say, that reference list, don't quite remember. We have the Learning Center where you can set up to talk and do a face-to-face with a tutor. So if you need a refresher on your writing and setting up that you learned in your English and your Intro to Human Services. We have the Writing Center. They have the availability of drop-in to be able to work with a tutor there. And we have a link to the online tutors. Also have this resource that we introduced you to in Intro to Human Services, where it has the guidelines and samples. And if you still have your textbook from Intro to Human Services, Module 2 will give you a lot of examples to check back on. So when you're writing, I'm expecting that you're refreshing and applying those things from a prior class. Let me pause there and come on back and check in on questions about the assignments. So I'm going to come back. All right. So there was a question. It goes back to the blog about there's 5 questions. We have 5 entries for that module. No, the minimum I'm looking for is 3. So you may answer maybe 2 of those questions in one of them, or you just choose 3 of those questions. The 5 questions are to give you a starting idea of where to go. Other questions about, say, the written response.
You expect 2 or 3?
2 or 3 what?
Where I had put 5 questions, 5 entries. You said you expected how many?
All right. I'm going to go back. Blog assignments. You'll be able to see the directions. It says 3 entry posts. Okay?
Okay.
1 or 2 links for each post. So you'll have somewhere between 3 to 6 links, but 3 posts, 3 paragraph summaries of your research.
Okay.
For the written response, you'll have 3 to 5 paragraphs. So the blog assignments are where you are researching, just gathering of information, and you're doing this with your classmates. So imagine we came to the classroom and I took you all over to the library and I said, go find the answers to these questions and come back and put them all together. You're doing that collectively as a group, but because we're an online class, we're sticking them up on a blog.
Okay.
Then you're going to come to class the next meeting, and I say, now remember all that research you did? Pull it all together and put it in an organized way. Do it using paragraphs and sentences, and you'll write your written response. Give credit back to your sources, and make sure you're using at least 3 sources and citing those as you're writing.
That makes it a whole lot more sense.
Okay, so those are the 2 things we do. First, we gather and research, and then second, we write it up. You certainly can be the first one on the blog and do enough research to do your written response. You don't have to wait for the others, but you can use theirs when it comes up. All right. Okay, so I'm going to go back to our screen one more time. And take a look again on Module 1. Now, the whole purpose of Module 1 is to start building our knowledge about where case managers work and what they do. We want to understand it in relation to ourselves as future human services professionals, how you might be doing roles as a case manager. That's why I pose these questions. That's why I want you going out into Google and checking these things. So where do they work? I suggest you say, you know, do your research and find out where they're working in Winston-Salem area. Or if you're, you know, joining us from this class from Greensboro. So places that you may actually want to be finding out more about jobs. I also, when you're looking at job descriptions, look at what you can find out about what case managers who have an AAS can do. Because I'm pretty sure when you do your research, you're going to find some case managers have nursing degrees, some of them have master's degrees, but in other settings, they have AAS degrees. That should be interesting information for you, and it'll be a foundation for us as we go to our next modules and drill down further to understand the skills you'll need to do those specific jobs. So when you finish up this module, I'm going to want you to be able to answer what are 3 places that employ case managers. And you should naturally be getting that information by doing these 2 assignments. I also want you to be able to tell me at least 3 tasks the case manager does. And again, through doing the blogs and organizing the ideas in a written response, that should come naturally to you at the end of this module. And then the last thing I want you to be able to briefly summarize the role of a case manager. And again, when you finish these assignments, that should be something you're able to do.
And this does not have to be substance abuse only, right?
Absolutely not. This class this is one that if you're specifically interested in substance abuse, you may want to do your research in that area and go and find out about substance abuse case managers. But for the purposes of this class, we're using the word broad. We aren't
Okay.
drilling into just case or substance abuse.
Okay.
But that is one common area that this skill set is used. It's also used with persons with intellectual and developmental disabilities. It's used with persons that are getting services from the homeless shelters. It's used in mental health. So lots of settings. All right. So I'm coming back again to our slide pictures. Oops. So I've shared about blog assignments, clarified about written responses, and talked about some of those ideas of where to explore for these. So any questions left?
Not right now.
All right. Okay, well, super. I'm glad you were able to join this session. I will note your attendance, so it'll be credited in the upcoming, I'll have it credited for attending one of the help sessions. It's also recorded, so you can refer back to it when I get that posted. Others will be coming to hopefully watch it, and they'll have a few more tasks to do with watching the recorded session, but those who attended, you don't have to do those steps. All right. Well, have a great week, and I'll look forward to continuing to work with you.